J.D. Mcpherson's debut album, Signs and Signifiers, that's a modern classic. It's got great songs, great sounds, and great playing. So today we're going to take a closer look at it and grab some rhythm and lead ideas from JD's tasteful playing. This video is sponsored by TrueFire.com, the largest online library of interactive music lessons with over 87,000 lessons taught by legendary players and also folks like me. I make several courses a year. Now here's a cool thing. If you can't decide on what course you might want to download, you can sign up for 1 year of all access. That lets you stream any of their 1,500 courses and you still get the features like on-screen tabs and backing tracks to practice along with, plus an extra 25% off downloads. Personally, I like to use that as an interview library because they have so many legends on there. Check the description box below for the link to get 1 year of all access. By the way, tabs and backing tracks for this lesson are available a la carte on my website or through Patreon membership. Now let's put things in context a little bit. JD grew up on a cattle ranch in rural Oklahoma, in an area known to the locals as Tater Hills. So when he sings, "I ain't nothing but a country boy," that's not an affectation. And you know, it makes me think that there must be something about Oklahoma that produces some of my favorite roots rock musicians. JD's in good company with Jesse Ed Davis, Leon Russell, and J.J. Cale. Now, whereas Jesse Ed Davis, Leon Russell, and J.J. Cale, they went to California, JD stayed put and went to college, eventually earning a Master of Fine Arts from the University of Tulsa. He got married, started a family, and became a middle school art teacher. The whole time he was making music, though, leading punk bands in high school, and then more cowpunk and roots rock as he got older. Now, here's a detail that I love. Because this stuff all happened in the early 2000s, JD got in touch with Chicago and Jimmy Sutton through MySpace. They scheduled sessions for the debut album as a, "I think this will be a fun project" sort of thing. No record label, no fans, yet just a couple of guys who wanted to make a really authentic rock and roll record. I want to make sure I give Jimmy and Alex their credit here too. Now, Jimmy Sutton, not only a great bass player, a great co-writer, and a great producer. Like, his ideas are definitely a big part of why that record works. He founded High Style Record Studios with Alex Hall. It's just this boutique little attic studio that uses all old stuff for authentic sounds. Tube, ribbon, and dynamic microphones, tube preamps, in a small space, recorded to 1/4-inch tape. In fact, you can see the space in the Northside Gal video. JD was kind enough to share with me some details of what he used for those sessions. A 60s Gibson 335 used on dimes for nickels, a Dan Electro U2, apparently not vintage, but it had the mojo, and of course doing a lot of the heavy lifting is his Frankencaster Tele, which he's built and rebuilt one piece at a time since high school. Both the Dano and the Tele had flat-wound 11s, and as JD put it, the flat wounds are a secret weapon. He's right, of course. You listen to kind of like that dull thud of the lower strings and it instantly reads old school. Now, the pickups in that Tele are interesting. They're, what's the guy's name? Pete Biltoff, Vintage Vibe, Charlie Christian Blade pickups. Pete is retired now, so I reached out to my friend Kevin at Lawler Pickups for a little more information about that Charlie Christian Blade thing. Like, why is that cool?
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm the production manager and designer here at Lawler Pickups, and today we're talking about the Charlie Christian. So it's a really cool, really classic design. It starts out with this blade, and that's magnetized by these bar magnets. They're epoxied onto a bobbin like so, and it gets wound with very large gauge wire, which produces a tone that has a really large dynamic range. It's got a lot of clarity and touch sensitivity. It's got very little compression. Wonderful tone, and perhaps one of the neatest things about the Charlie Christian is this facade on the top. It's a 2-ply piece of pickguard material that's beveled with these really sharp angles and has just a very quintessential look. And I was actually lucky enough to visit the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix, Arizona a couple months ago with my wife, and we saw a vintage ES250 that had a Charlie Christian style pickup in it that he actually played back in the day. So amazing piece of history to see. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into the world of the Charlie Christian pickup.
Amp-wise, there was a 50s Fender Champ, which we can hear on the grittier things like I Can't Complain and an unspecified vintage Epiphone for all the tremolo sounds. And that's a big part of the record, whatever that mystery amp is. If that's what we're kind of seeing in that little picture, maybe that's an Epiphone Devon or Pathfinder, which are very similar to Gibson Falcon. Cool old amps that don't cost an arm and a leg yet. To quote JD, it was a very simple setup with an excellent producer working with an excellent engineer. It was a very happy session, and I think you can hear that in the finished product. So we have really good sounds, really good songs, and a really good singer, but we also have great arrangements. Like, notice how at least like the first 7 songs have their own groove and feel different from the one preceding it or any of the others, which that's definitely different than, say, like the source material. Like a lot of the classic early rock and roll tends to be more homogeneous in nature. Like the songs really sound very similar. So they did a very good job of making sure that our modern ears won't get, I guess, bored, for lack of a better term. Like, check out the drum groove on Gentle Awakening. There's something like almost hip-hop about it, which isn't odd because JD in the same sentence will mention Wu-Tang Clan, Ramones, and Buddy Holly. Like, it's all just source material for him. And in fact, I can hear some Smiths on the title track. Like, that riff definitely is sort of like Johnny Marr's How Soon Is Now riff, but to be fair, that riff is really a Bo Diddley riff, so yeah, if you trace it back far enough, it always goes to Bo Diddley. I mentioned earlier that tremolo guitar is a big part of the record, and yeah, throughout the whole record, the guitar is pretty low in the mix doing these kind of percussive parts. They're quite simple, really, but with the tremolo, it's exactly the right part. The guitar doesn't really pop out until he takes a lead. So as a guitar teacher, I definitely like to point to this record as being full of short, memorable, playable solos. Like, they're very singable, the phrases are very succinct but also interesting, and they're full of good ideas. So this is definitely a great record to study to work on roots rock guitar. Okay, well, let's do it. So here's what I'm using today to cop his sound as best I can. This is my crafted in Japan Telecaster. That's a factory Bigsby. Yep, it's got the mastery bridge. Tom Brantley Rewind pickups. I think they're 60s spec. Always sounds good. And yeah, this thing has been re-radiused, refretted. Daniel put a tummy cut in the back. You know, this thing has been messed with a lot as well, just like JD's car Skylark Special in the tweed mode using an external attenuator because that will make it darker than the internal attenuator, running into this fun little 1x10 open back pine cab with a Weber Alnico. So that's pretty tweed-tastic. Oh, I should point out that the tremolo I'm using today is Soundtoys Tremolator set to 16th notes. The Roots Rock scale, I'm calling it Roots Rock scale, but really it is really everywhere in all genres. You got your blues scale. In the same place, we also have Mixolydian, which is a major scale with a flat 7th degree. You know, because a proper major scale is... Mixolydian has that. So you combine blues and Mixolydian and you get all sorts of, you know, like the little things like that, or there's a lot of all those things. JD, I haven't heard him do this one, but this is a classic. My advice for noodling around with that is to do a blues phrase and then attach it to a Mixolydian thing. Or vice versa. You can hear how much that starts to put you in that. You could say it's roots rock, but dude, this is in jazz. This is in psychedelic stuff. This Hendrix uses this scale. Jerry Garcia uses this scale. I mean, you could find it across anything that is in any way rootsy. Now, rockabilly double stops are a little bit different than like R&B double stops or, Hendrix double stops. So there's a lot more going off of these chord shapes. So let's go to the top of that. You'll hear JD grab these upper two. He might do a slide in. That's a third. You also might hear him flat the third. So there's a lot there. Basically, the idea is, hey, anytime you have this chord, realize that there's stuff off of the top here. The other thing that he'll do is, in parallel thirds, go up the scale. Let's look at that again. That basically makes an E7. Or he might go down. Yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, because again, like the Hendrix thing, is cool, but it's neat to have another thing to do. Now let's trace some of those solos exactly. Northside Gal is a D blues. It's kind of neat. He's going to come in there. Notice I'm in middle position pickup for this one. Both of them on, kind of a little bit chirpier. And yeah, again, the rockabilly double stops, which are really just thirds. And really, that's what it is. He was seeing this chord the whole time. Yeah, that's Mixolydian. Anyway, that lick. And yeah, he's playing the changes. It goes to a G chord. He actually is just going to play Mixolydian on that. Yeah, so instead of going, it's all bends. Up to a D does the same exact lick. Here comes the A chord. I love that. He grabs both of those. I love that. And notice these are flats. I put on flat 11s for this. That's where flat wounds come into play, that sound. And then a D chord. Yeah. And then like a little kind of double stoppy thing here. Just kind of. Yeah. Memorable, playable solo. What's another one, this sound setting? Oh, Firebug. So Firebug is in E. That's an E blues. And same thing, he's visualizing kind of up here off of that E chord. I love that. Oh wait, is Firebug? Yeah, no, Firebug is both on. I think Firebug's actually, played on the Dan Electro, not his Tele. And that thing I talked about, now it's a flat third. Oh. He hits the A before it goes to the A, and it's kind of neat. He's visualizing, you could say he's visualizing the A. But it's also kind of out of the E blues Mixolydian area. And then that's kind of tricky to get that little quick picking. I will say this, I talk about this all the time. When I have to do faster picking, I'll come in closer. I rotate the pick kind of to the back side. And then there's like a random noise, and then the B lick. Again, that's the sound of flat wound strings. Yeah, I forget what year. Oops, I was supposed to Google it. what year round wounds took over. But yeah, folks often say for like early rock and roll, if you want to sound more legit, put flat wound strings on, like apparently even early Beatles stuff, like a lot. Yeah, if you want to sound more authentic, flatties. Scandalous, we're going to click forward into the bridge position pickup. I could hear just the tiniest bit of slap back on that. And yeah, that one is the little Fender Champ, giving it that really ratty overdrive. Again, though, Scandalous is back up in D blues, and this is neat. Like we have those things, the harmonized sixths. So he's kind of coming in there on the 13 and 13, which are, you know, like a chromatic one. He's bending them up. You know, that's a sound. You know, it's the same as going, but. And then there's that D chord, again, the Mixolydian blues thing. Yeah, and you actually get all of them. You know, mostly the middle too, but you can hear the tiniest bit of the upper ones in there. Does that twice. And then, oh, yep, we go to a G chord, and again with that, he sees this chord here, and he's grabbing the upper part of it. Why does that remind me of Woody Woodpecker? Again, the center of the shot. I love that. A random open D. That's cool. And then you got a whole bunch of these. Yeah, great, memorable, playable, approachable little rock and roll solos. Cool stuff. That's all I got time for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. That costs you nothing. It helps me out a lot when people do that. One more time, how my business works. Patreon, live Q&As, backing tracks, and more. I update that all the time. And I also make courses, which I'm actually about to go do after this video comes out, so you won't see me next week. I'll be in Florida filming some courses with the folks at truefire.com. As Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. That includes yourself. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.